Digital 410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from the ACT Computer Studios in Cape Coral, Florida, it's the What's in Your Head podcast with your hosts Gordon and Don Abernathy.
What's up, OG5? Is my voice coming back yet?
It is a little bit. It'll take a while, bro. It will absolutely take a while.
I still got the COVID cough, the creepy crud. You know, I don't think I released the news into the air of Instagram or Facebook. I came out and told my TikTok audience after about a week and a half of doing videos laying on my face or head against the wall.
You're a dirty breather, aren't you?
Well, I was trying to continue getting content out there so that my numbers wouldn't fall dramatically. But when you have COVID, I just kind of made it blatantly obvious without making it obvious. There's a video of me laying on the floor, face down on the carpet, duetting somebody. There's one, where I'm
face down on your desk at your console,
literally leaning against the wall in the bathroom, talking. Then the one where I saw Pauly D from Jersey Shore doing a TikTok with his Bass Pro Shop hat on. I couldn't let that stand, so I did one where I'm laying face down on the floor saying, hey, doesn't Gordon have a football game to be watching? Martin wants to know, why aren't you watching football? Because it's only 6 o'clock there?
No, it actually started 5:15 our time. I had to get out of work a little bit.
Yeah, you got stuck in the football traffic.
Early. I almost got stuck in the traffic because literally it's our parking lot gets turned at, hey, if you can make $100 a spot, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got out of there. We park actually in the back, but it wasn't too bad getting out. I just had to work my way around on some side streets, but I'm just not a big football fan, and even less of a Raiders fan. Although Raiders are better than the Bengals, so I may have to just kind of
got that going for you.
Kind of lean that way. It'll be interesting when there's actually going to be a home NHL game and a home NFL game at the same time. So we'll see how that eventually plays out. But
I don't want to run it to the ground. Gordon and I did an OG5 podcast on it. There's actually 2 of them up there. There's one with me and Gordon and the one with me and Michael from the Tackle Your Best podcast, whose episode 2 is up right now, by the way. So if you guys are into fishing or you want to hear a podcast on the network that I'm not on, please go check out the Tackle Your Best podcast. You can find the links at d-410.com. But Gordon and I talked about it in great detail about getting COVID and his COVID experience. And I don't want to rehash the entire thing here. I'll just give you guys the brief synopsis, which is why we didn't have an episode last week. Wait,
let me guess. You came down with COVID. You laid around, made some videos. You got better.
Yeah, just missing the part with the cold chills, the body feeling like I have mild sunburn, so laying in bed hurt, and then the rest of my body feeling like I got beat with a 2x4 for 2 days.
Have you tried exercising yet?
If you watch the video I posted on YouTube tonight, interestingly enough, can you hear that? Can you hear Nugget talking in the background?
No, I can't.
Good, because she has her headphones on. Okay, real quick, let me steer this van that was already swerving through 6 lanes. Parents out there, I need my Xbox parents. Not the parents who play Xbox, but the parents of kids who are addicted to Xbox. This child, literally, Gordon, as soon as she wakes up, she puts on her over-the-ear wireless Turtle Beach headphones and has them on 24 hours a day. And if
Would you do the same thing at that age?
No.
In today's society, not how the world was when we were younger.
I don't know, because she even wears them when she's not playing Xbox.
Like a fashion statement?
Yeah, and, or she'll be video chatting somebody, or she'll have a TV show on, but, she'll be out in the kitchen making food with her Turtle Beaches on. She only takes them off long enough to charge them.
It kind of reminds me, and I may be wading into dangerous territory here, but there is a certain segment of society that when they drive their cars and are out and about, they have basically the telemarketer headset on.
Yeah, they're usually 40-year-old truck drivers that drive dumb trucks. It's going to show our age, but I refer to them as Nancy the Time Life operators, even if they're dudes.
Yes. Speaking of showing our age, I saw a commercial for the second time that made me realize I'm old. And it was for a natural supplement. And it was a guy talking about doing a kickflip.
Oh, yeah.
And how he wasn't sore after he did his one kickflip.
I got one better than that. You know how what makes you feel old is when they have a arthritis commercial with two chicks who are sword fighting who look like they're should be in their late 20s and they're talking about arthritis, and you're looking at these two chicks like they shouldn't be having arthritis pains for another 15 years. Am I that old, or are they that young, or what? Because once again, these two chicks look like they're 26. They're like stunt women. They're sword fighting and they're talking about the arthritis in their elbow. I'm like, where's the 40-year-old stunt women to do this commercial?
And usually arthritis commercials were like late 40s, early 50s, into their 60s.
That's my point. Either I'm getting so old that late 30-year-olds are looking like 20-year-olds now, or they're just trying to hire more young actresses. I don't know. And then
there is something to be said about that. And then there are some actors I look at, I'm like, oh, they're close to our age, and then I was like 10 years younger, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about COVID, and then we were taking it somewhere else, but then I diverted to the Xbox thing. What was the thing?
You didn't want to beat it into the ground.
No, you're asking about
exercise.
Yes. Hold on, but I gotta play this commercial. Gordon and I've talked about this on the OG5 podcast, but I want to bring it up here. This commercial you'll primarily see on Roku, and it talking about women and where we are. Oh, I forgot. I muted Google Chrome. This is why I need a producer. I really got to get in. Not like COVID. Well, COVID's not over. I'm just I still got my
You
COVID
keep
call.
saying COVID's over, but it's always worse than it's ever been.
I know, but that's when Dave left the show 2 months before COVID started.
Now,
and
did he leave the show or the world?
both, but
Okay.
Dave fell off the planet to, like the month before COVID hit the world. And then 2 months to 2 weeks to move the curve, 8 months, and so we're like, okay, well once it's safe to have strangers in our house, I'll bring a third person on the show, and just here we are.
Flash forward to a year and a half later, and you're going to have to get vaccinated at a company.
Yeah, but anyhow.
Being a human is hard, especially if you're a woman who's also having trouble doing that totally normal thing all humans do, but not all of them like to talk about.
Oh, are you talking about pooping?
Let's just say Garden of Life's doctor-formulated women's probiotics help your digestion so you can be a more regular human.
I'm comfortable talking about poop. You can just say poop.
It's 2021. I think everyone knows that women poop.
I love pooping.
You poop, girl.
Plus, did you know that the 40 billion probiotics found in Garden of Life can help support immune system health?
Oh, are you poop-splaining me right now?
Wow. Don't be shy about pooping. Pooping is powerful.
They're all in
This is
bathrooms
my
and
favorite part of the day.
sitting on the
I
commode.
poop. She poops. All women
Locker
poop.
room.
I'm a woman, and
This
I
woman's
poop.
using a squatty
I'm a
potty.
woman,
Oh, time out.
and
Hold
I
up.
poop.
Hold
Time
up.
out. I've got a problem too. Go
I got a
ahead.
problem. Why is it the one chick using the squatty potty's the Asian chick? That's
Hey,
freaking
I got a house
on the
full of
nut.
squatty potties, so
Yes,
Yeah,
I know, but the squatty potty came from the fact that people in Asia don't use toilets, and it's supposed to be that quote-unquote natural way of doing a bowel movement. And yet, so out of all the chicks on this diverse commercial, the Asian chick's the one using the squatty potty. That's my only problem. And it's a wood homemade one. It's not even the plastic one you get off of Amazon. Hold on, let me finish this commercial. There's only like 40 seconds left.
I'm a woman, and I poop regularly.
Thanks for the poop powerment.
I'm not saying poop-powerment.
I'm pooping right now.
Look for Garden of Life, the number
Is there some? Do we have to go to a place that we no longer ignore the fact that women drop double deuces? I mean,
well, here's the
do we
problem:
have
is
to
you
go
said
there?
it was a diverse commercial, but I did not hear about the biologically born females who are actually a male who has the same problems as females when it comes to pooping.
yeah, I don't know. They're not that.
Wow, that
woke
was a
yet.
mouthful. I mean, it was a stretch. I broke my brain thinking about that one.
Yeah, they're not that woke yet. But yeah, so I've been seeing that one. Anyhow, back to the
Power to
commercial.
the poop.
Working out. I have not ran or gone to the gym in about, what's today, 13th? 13th. Nugget got sick around the 26th. I haven't been running or running or to the
About
gym
20 days.
in about 20 days, which is the longest time for me not running since I started running years ago. However, can you hear that? I hope you guys.
No, I just heard a however and a silence.
Well, that's because the kid's screaming in the background. I can hear perfectly fine. I'm just happy to know that these stellar studio mics we have don't pick up on that background noise, so I'll try to ignore. As
Squirrel!
we were talking on the OG5 podcast, I think, we were talking about Carrie's arm injury where she can't do this. I think her
which
range
I
of
think
motion
is
on
a
her arm is...
rotator cuff deal.
The range of motion on her arm is like right here. And she needs physical therapy. Her government supplied insurance is only going to cover $10 per visit. They want her 3 times a week, so it's going to be roughly half our mortgage for her to get physical therapy a month. So we're still sorting those things out. But anyhow, she tried to go on a mile run with me a couple months ago, or about a month ago, and literally the very first step with the water bottle in hand caused her so much pain. She didn't turn around. She did the mile. We walked it, but and complete pain, didn't turn. She could have just easily turned around. We were right in the house, and the first jolt of lightning got her.
She sucked it up and did it.
But she's concerned that she's not running. We haven't been fishing in ever on the kayak because of the goddamn rain every freaking day, and the shoulder kayaking hurts her too. But it's a different range of motion. But anyhow, so she was looking at an exercise bike, and didn't like Peloton.
They're
Peloton,
expensive, about $68 a month.
yeah, it's that, and well, you got the price of the bike, and then they just announced that they're no longer offering free live classes, and so you got to pay that $68 a month, and then
A trick that we found out, somebody had found out recently at one of our clients. Actually, it's a casino. They had a Peloton studio, but they had their video screen wall was huge, right? Bunch of screens. Come to find out, Peloton charged them per screen per month. So they're wiping that out and putting one large screen. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
Oh, I was doing work for a national chain who do fruit-based arrangements, and I had to put up 3 new 52-inch TVs across their top for the menu board. Now, corporate had already handled this, but they have there's these little tiny computers you put behind that runs the software. And if you go to the software's website to create an account, which the chain already had, so the cost was taken care of. But if you were to use this service, the first screen is free, much like you're saying with your Peloton, and then you had to pay like $10 a month per screen. So if corporate wouldn't have covered the cost to have their menu board updated, like when you go to McDonald's, the screen changes and they got animation and all that shit. If corporate wouldn't have covered that, they would have had to pay $15 a month for the second and third screen to flip just to get that information from their servers. That's insane, dude. That's more
so
than
they would have
$100 a year.
basically had to sell 2 extra meals.
No, well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, not $120 a year, but yeah. So no, I get that. But anyhow, so Peloton wasn't really a thing, and then because Google and everybody's so invasive, once you start searching for stuff, now you get inundated with advertisements.
It's like you just got to say it.
Mm-hmm. And so on Instagram, she started getting advertisements for these other bikes, Peloton adjacent, with certain offers and specials and this and that. And
One of the companies used to have a flexible machine, kind of like a bow.
no, we didn't look at the Bowflex. One of them was Proform, which is actually kind of a generic equipment, but they're getting into the market. And then, but we started researching, and it's like, no, once you look at the fine line. Long story short, she found one called, I keep calling it My X Fitness because that's how it's spelled, MYX Fitness, but it's actually called Mix Fitness. Whatever. They recently
Fucking stylized logos.
Yeah, and they're with a company called Open Fit, and they just got hooked up with Beachbody On Demand, who's known for P90X and some of the other workouts, but that platform hasn't segued in. We ordered this bike before we got COVID, and one of the complaints for this particular bike was that it did come on a slow boat from China.
It means it's sitting off the coast of California.
No,
with 28 other boats.
It came like, right as we're just coming out of COVID. Just
Perfect timing.
right around
Okay.
time. It was safe enough that I wore a mask and just pretend like I was a Biden supporter while the guys were setting it up because we didn't want to
I
have
did
to.
that with a replacement of my television.
We didn't have to didn't want to have to reschedule them because they're not supposed to have been in the house with the creepy crud floating around. But I just locked everybody else.
Been there,
away.
done that.
And so they came and set the thing up, and you have to calibrate it. And then I've ran on it. I've used it 4 times. Only complaining about this thing, and you guys.
Now, is it a running or is it a bike?
It's a bike. It's like it's one of the competitors to Peloton. The only thing, and you guys.
So it's got the metal wheel that spins real fast. Like
It's got the metal wheel. It's not magnetic. It's a tension belt version, but it's still it's a great built bike. It has the foot pedal. Has the foot clamps. It has both. It actually supports your stepping shoes if you're a full-time rider, and if you don't have, you just flip the pedal over and it has the basket on the other side. Friend of the show who's been on twice was talking one time on Adam Kroll that when Peloton first came out, the diehard fitness people thought it was garbage. No one was buying it because the price point was too low. I think it originally came out like at $400.
Don, I figured it out.
Hold on, making absolutely no change to the bike. They changed the price point to $1,200, and the thing blew up and started flying off the shelves.
That means we need to raise a Patreon.
Yeah, right. And so Peloton really isn't the greatest piece of equipment. Now, with all that being said, this thing's great. It's got a nice 25-inch screen on it. It comes with a heart rate monitor. It syncs. You can sync your Raycons to it. It has a built-in speaker. It's nice and durable. Everything's adjustable.
Will your Garmin sync?
Probably you can sync any heart monitor you want, but I leave it be. I just use their heart monitor, and then I just take the report at the end and I just put a manual entry into Strava. Because Strava really is not set up for virtual bikes anyhow. They have an option, but it's anyhow. The only complaint, well, there's a few things on it. I won't beat everybody ahead with it, but go check out my YouTube video if you're interested in what this thing looks like. The only complaint we have well, I don't really care, but Carrie, her biggest disappointment, because when you go on the website, it says live classes. Can't figure the fucking this out for the life of me. Open Fit, whatever the hell you're called, and X Fitness, my X Fitness, or whatever the fuck your name is. They have no live bike riding.
Because
Now,
nobody's doing it.
The screen does rotate, and so you can spin the screen and then use the whole bike as a media display and get your yoga mats out, and they have yoga. And one of the cool features, you can watch, like they have a news channel you can watch, so your screen's minimized, the trainer's minimized. And the cool thing is the audio is on 2 different tracks, so you can adjust the background music independently from the trainer. They have bike videos, they're just not live. So you don't have the guy saying, "Hey, Gordon in Las Vegas, I see you. Speed up, fella." So they don't have the live classes yet.
They don't have any trainers yet.
Well, they have like 4 or 5 trainers, but it's all pre-recorded. For some reason, I don't know if maybe there's some Peloton copyright.
Probably.
But all their live stuff right now is only available on the app and cell phone. And it's like the yoga classes and live running, but there's no
Now
live.
Peloton's got 4 years and 3 months left on their copyright.
There's no live
Great,
bike
Mark.
riding, but it is cool because like you go on, you do the 30-minute country ride or whatever, or the 30-minute rock ride. It's not sound. It's not. No, they're not clearable rock. It's not public. They play fucking ZZ Top on there. They pay the fucking license for the music, and
That's good.
And when you go back and rewatch the same video, the soundtrack's different. So it's not, you're not going to...
You probably, if you look deep enough, you'll either see Slacker or Pandora attached to it somewhere.
Yeah, they just basically, they know that on that particular instruction that there's a certain rate of rhythm, and so they just play songs at that beats per minute to sync up. But the cool thing is so when you go back and redo the same video, you're not playing the same exact playlist. It'll have different songs. And it's cool, when you're riding, it'll show your heart rate at the bottom, and she'll be like, okay, go to zone 2, you put some more freaking in, boom, and then you see your heart rate. And I got the freaking zone 4 today, which I wasn't supposed to. But the other thing is crazy. Carrie's resting heart rate, like when she started tonight, she was like at zone 2 when she sat down on the damn thing. Her heart rate is through the freaking roof. What's going on, John Kraft? OG5, check
Now,
in.
was there a monthly subscription to that?
They have a deal going on, like you buy the thing, you basically you finance it, you pay the shipping up front, which, as you can expect, a heavy-ass bike from the slow boat from China plus a setup. But anyhow, I think the monthly fee is like $25 $6. I mean, it's not much at all. It's basically, it's like, okay, well, we'll just get rid of the mystery tackle box and Bob's your uncle. So,
Is it no longer a mystery in the mystery tackle box?
I mean, we got another one. We haven't canceled it yet. It's got some pretty cool stuff in it, but it's, I don't know, it's what, $14 more than a Planet Fitness membership, and you can have 4 people in it for the 1 monthly subscription. So that,
there you go.
That 1 monthly subscription, Sariana's used it 3 times, Carrie's used it 3 times, I've used it 3 times, and so Carrie canceled her gym membership, and so
It's not in the garage, right?
no, it's in the living room. No,
Okay, good.
it's not going to be out in the garage. But I was talking on the video today, with coming off of COVID, I'm going to give myself another week before I try to do exercise out in the 95-degree weather. Doing 20 minutes on my bike in the AC is a lot different than actually, running out in the heat and humidity.
Hey, dog's out there yelling at the neighbor's dog, apparently. All right.
But anyhow, still got the COVID cough. All the other symptoms are gone. But I just, when I got out in public...
Have you gotten your hunger back yet? Like crazy hunger? It's fucking insane, dude.
Good news, bad news. Bad news is this was supposed to be the month that my fitness was going up because I got a OCR event on first week of October, then I got one in November.
Uh-huh.
Bad news is I haven't worked out or ran with the exception of using the bikes in 20 days. Good news is I've lost 5 pounds due to COVID. When I started at the end of last month, I got down to 218, and then COVID hit me, and I got down to 215.5 the other day just from not eating.
The question I had, because I've noticed with some people around me that it's like once you get your appetite back, it won't stop and it gets worse. It's like you're trying to catch up for fighting it, No,
I went from eating once a day to eating once every day, 18 hours. Lost a bunch of weight, but it's slowly coming back. I don't know. I still sound like I have a stuffed up head. I still got the cough. I'm wearing my mask when I go on jobs, even at places that don't require them. I figure I'll wear the mask until the cough goes away.
I did notice in one of your TikTok videos, you definitely sounded a little labored in breathing.
I wasn't labored as in, oh my God, I can't breathe. I was labored as in, if I had a good cough, I would cough up some pretty nasty green shit like I had pneumonia. And I never broke a fever. The highest I got was 98 for like a half hour. And that's when I was under covers with all my clothes on. Never cracked a fever. Did deal with the stomach issues. Still dealing with that a little bit. But one day I coughed so much that I started dry heaving. Because I hadn't eaten anything. You feel like you're going to puke, right? I was puking up bile, but I had nothing. I hadn't eaten anything. And so I wasn't vomiting food. But just from coughing so hard and getting that green shit out of my lungs, I did start vomiting for a short period of time.
Can I take you back to the past?
Take me back. Do. That's
why
I'm drinking
do you
Truly.
Remember
I'm drinking my
about
fishing drinks because it's raining every fucking day. By the way, Weather Channel, get your shit together. I checked the weather at 4:30. It says I'm good until 9 with no rain, and I check it at 5:30 when it's raining outside. And now all of a sudden there's a fucking band of thunderstorms.
I got a thought.
Do we have technology?
Something to think about. Think about with the before we go to the past.
Mm-hmm.
Think about weather guys. Think about people who make predictions of the future. All the weather guy doing is predicting the future, and who's ever right with that?
You know how much those motherfuckers make even in a small market like this? More than you would ever imagine.
And then they're wrong. And then you can be wrong all the time. God, I'm in the wrong business.
I found out because I knew one down here, and at that person's prime,
6-figure
rocket star money, literally, yeah, just for being in a small market.
Like if Biden's tax plan went in, they'd go up to 36% tax rate?
Like if they were in California, including federal and state taxes, they would be paying more than 60%. Yeah, that kind of money, even in a small market. So you figure they'd get things right. Okay. Take me back.
We've been seeing a lot of these lately, these commercials and these Red Ryder wagons. It shows a guy riding in it. Do you remember when we used to ride the Red Ryder down the hill? You were kind of young.
Yeah, I remember you put a mattress on it, put our sister on it, and broke her collarbone.
Well, we used to get in it Calvin and Hobbes style.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd get behind me, and I'd steer with that handle. And I was telling Mom about it. We'd roll down this cistern, which is a hill, but the trick was I had to thread the needle on the sidewalk through a fence, and then the sidewalk would drop because it was also stairs long stairs. And we do that. And I was like, did you ever get upset? She goes, no, because we did the same thing. I always got in trouble.
And for those of you playing along in the home game, the cistern cover was basically a concrete manhole with a bent piece of rebar as to act as a handle. And so
100%.
what was that a well pump that looked like an old gas pump?
Yes, it was an old water well.
But it must have had a lot of exterior components to require the sheet metal wrapped around it to give it that gas pump look.
Yeah. And then that was an interesting property because it used to be a dairy farm.
Yeah.
So, no, it was kind of neat.
Why does
neat.
Why does Chrome keep crashing on me? It's probably the stupid
It's
story.
Chrome.
It's a stupid story that I have on here. I'll get to it now. Let me relaunch Chrome. I want to talk about Joe Rogan, but not about the COVID Joe Rogan. I want to talk about Restore because Google Chrome crashed. So on my Android phone, if I swipe to the left, it'll give me stories it thinks I'm interested in. And before the Joe Rogan horse pill and whether or not he should sue CNN, by the way, Joe, yes, and I just told you that on Twitter. This story came up, headline from the Verge magazine, or Verge.com, Joe Rogan, confined to Spotify, is losing influence. Now, this is from August 25th. What? This is prior to the COVID thing. And so you're saying, well, what is their marker? What is the marker? What is their indication for how he's losing influence? I'm not even going to read the article. I'm just going to skip down to the very scientific algorithm that they used. Oh, page is unresponsive. Do you want me to read your fucking shitty page, Verge? This is the 5th time you've crashed my fucking browser. And I just need to read one paragraph from your piece of shit website. Jesus on a pogo stick. I'll try one more time. But anyhow, Gordon, their in-depth algorithm that they're using to determine how much influence one and only Joe Rogan has since signing his exclusive deal to Spotify, because now ever since you joined Spotify, you can't even watch his full live stream on YouTube. They only show segments.
But you do know on Spotify they have his live stream, right? Or
Yeah.
not live stream, but they do have him. Yeah, because he's no longer on YouTube, but they do have the video.
Which is very
on
interesting
Spotify.
how that works. But anyhow, so let me scroll down real quick before it crashes. Because Spotify doesn't share how many plays each episode gets or how many unique listeners regularly tune in, we looked instead at secondary metrics. You ready for this?
Second,
Gordon?
yeah, I'm reading it right with you.
We found prior to going exclusive on December 2019 and November 2020, Joe Rogan's guests could expect a gain of around 4,000 Twitter followers in the week after their episode premiered. After he went exclusive, that number declined to half, around 2,000, suggesting a drop in listeners. Or perhaps, just maybe, that's an indication of how many people are no longer using Twitter, you dipshits. So
And
the
the
guests,
fact that he has repeat guests.
well, so the guests are still using Twitter, and we've talked about in this past the reason why so many people in Hollywood and in the news try to convince the world that Twitter is this sacred ground of information is because Twitter is the only social media platform that doesn't charge its content creators, with the exception of TikTok, to get the message out. And
For
so
now.
So when they go on the news, they always put their Twitter handle because they know when they tweet, they're not charged $10 for 35 people to see it, Facebook and Instagram. And so they want the rest of the world to think that Twitter is this holy land. But as we've discussed, Twitter has been, especially during
It's a
Trump,
wasteland.
it became a political shit show. And I
It-
do not know anybody who's not a celebrity or a news anchor who uses Twitter. I don't. The only people I ever hear talk about Twitter is,
Or
once again, when they're on
celebrities.
the news, they put their Twitter handle up there, or if they're on Adam Carolla's show, or they're on some mainstream podcast, they talk about people tweeting. But anybody who lives outside of California, New York, or Chicago, I don't know anybody who says, hey, have you seen so-and-so's tweets lately? So maybe, Verge, it's not that Joe Rogan's losing influence. Maybe it's less and less normal people who listen to his show are stopping and no longer using fucking Twitter. Just a thought.
Twitter is kind of going the way of the dodo. in my
That's like them
opinion.
saying, well, you know, before going to Spotify, people used to get at least 100 more followers on their MySpace page. Really? How many people are still
Well,
using MySpace?
So I don't know if it's my phone or if it's Spotify, but sometimes his ads will come on after he's been on for a while, and then the whole show starts over.
I haven't had that problem, so it's probably your phone. Once again, the only problems I still suffer
Fuck
through
you, Samsung.
is Google. For whatever reason, if you listen to our podcast on Google and you pause it to get out of your car, when you get back in, the entire show starts. And for a period of about 3 months, you guys probably didn't notice, but we actually did this show in mono to think, well, maybe the file size is too big.
I think with the Google, it's because it's kind of the freeware. I bet you the other guys pay a little bit of money. A
Probably.
little ad revenue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, nice shirt considering that big votes tomorrow.
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing it. You know, I made this shirt, and this is one of the few shirts that I make and I sell on Digital 410 that sometimes I try to decide if I really want to deal with wearing it out in public. Not that I get too much grief down here, but I am waiting for someone at some point to ask me about it. It is a California flag upside down, but it's not a hatred for California because it does say Save California underneath it. And I was a resident of California. But California is turned into, not to quote Trump, but into a fucking shithole. And if you live in California and you don't vote Gavin Newsom out, you deserve anything.
You are part of the problem.
You deserve every tax, every lockdown, every homeless person shitting in your front yard, every ungodly sight of your poor wife and kids having to watch some dude jack off on the street. That's on you. If you don't vote this guy out this week, I don't want to hear any complaining from any Californians whatsoever.
They'll
Because
just continue to move to Vegas, Texas,
and the fact
and
that
Arizona.
the governor of California has gotten the news in California to tell people that a black man who grew up in Compton is the new black face of white supremacy, and that message is actually gaining traction out there, just goes to show how our world is fucked.
Along with all the other insane messages that straight up contradict themselves in the middle of a speech, like the whole COVID, right? Oh, vaccinated. You have very little chance of getting a serious case of COVID. Everything's good. Don't worry about it. But we're here to save the vaccinated from the unvaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck does that work?
And this coming in right now on news you don't care about. Lil Nas won Video Music Award, Video Music of the Year.
Do you even play videos anymore?
You know, I did a TikTok on that. I said,
I think TikTok should actually be the video VMAs now because they're the ones who's got the music in the background.
Well, yes, but I did two. One, I kind of was busting Tommy Lee's balls because MTV has him trying to convince people that VMAs are worth watching. And I said, sorry, Tommy, no one over the age of 28 gives a shit about the Video Music Awards. But then I did a second one saying, why is MTV still the arbiter of Video Music Award of the Year? Shouldn't YouTube be doing that?
I mean, how deep do you got to go into? Is like MTV 4 or 5 now?
MTV 1 at like 4 in the morning will play videos. Once
for all the drunks.
Once they've already shit out enough episodes of Teen Pregnant and they've replayed all the Jersey Shore Family Vacation from the Poconos. I mean, I don't know where it was shot this year. And all those. But no, seriously, why isn't YouTube doing it?
That's a good question.
YouTube should be doing the music video. MTV should not.
Yeah, it should be YouTube.
Oh, and you know damn well, in order for them to, if they do in fact, if it is an honest award system and not fixed, they would have to get their information from YouTube to know, who the most watched videos are. Because
or do you even, or because MTV and Viacom pretty much own that it's a video music award show. Maybe it should just be a YouTube Influencer of the Year award.
But once again, if you don't have a music video on YouTube, no one's going to watch it. Kids don't watch MTV. Sariana doesn't watch MTV. She's an 8th grader.
I don't even know if I've got MTV.
I do because I watch Jersey Shore Family Vacation from the Poke. I mean, I don't know.
Oh man, dude, you just lost some points.
That's all right. I might gain a few closet Jersey Shore fans. But
hey, speaking of TikTok, I was on a.
But
did you know?
Hold on, real serious. Why isn't YouTube doing it? They have the money. They could just as easily live stream it on YouTube. They can rent out the man Chinese
YouTube, and also pick up some hours on some extra because they could actually generate extra ad revenue broadcasting it on any of the major networks.
And it's not like they're concerned that they may offend MTV. What the hell does it? What would MTV have to offer them monetarily?
How mad would you be if they did that next year?
I would be happy because MTV should. It's so weird that
I predicted it, man.
not only that, it's so weird that we live in a world where McDonald's can't call their shakes milkshakes because there's no milk in it. So legally,
It's
they
yogurt.
can't call it milkshakes. Whenever you have a spring water, most places choose a real place that has a spring, even though that's not where the spring water comes from. But we have the Learning Channel that has no educational value to it. We have the History Channel that stopped showing history programs fucking 10 years ago, and we got a music station a music video station that has nothing to do with music. Why can't we get some stations renamed? Why is TLC the Learning Channel? Is
it still? I don't even think they still call themselves a learning channel.
No, they just call themselves TLC, but that's what it stands for.
Well, it did.
They can't call it the Tender Loving Care channel because they play some horrible shit on there. So.
Oh man, they do. So, did you have a chance to watch 60 Days In yet?
No, Carrie and I
get into that.
I've seen it in the past. I haven't. I may have watched 1 or 2 episodes. I don't know. The idea of seeing people in jail just.
But it's got to be better than Big Brother.
Well, this season, by the way, congratulations to the cookout. You guys successfully got rid of all the people of color, and they so systematically did it that the girl that was half white and half Hispanic was the last one to go. And yet, still no one's calling it. No one's.
So is it now woke brother?
Well, just everybody's. Oh, we made history! Congratulations!
Big woke.
The show's been out 20 years, but anyhow, so they succeeded. They voted out all the non-people of color, and yet no one's calling it racist, but whatever. But anyhow, what was I? Oh, but no, to answer your question, I've seen some in the past. Just the idea of people volunteering to go to jail for 60 days is insane to me. And
I mean, when I went into it, I was very hesitant, like, oh, this is going to suck. And then that's one of the ones that's actually sucked me in. I don't know why. I think it's because this 5th season, they did a couple of things different. They had all the participants meet each other prior to going in, and several of them were in pods together. One of them was the first one that they've ever had was a ex-con criminal, shot caller. He ends up a shot caller.
How much money do they get paid?
I don't know, man.
Well, if they don't advertise any money, then that means they're making scale, which is $12 an hour at 24 hours a day times 60 days. So I guess you come out to a pretty decent paycheck because that is Screen Actor Guild's minimum. Because when I did The Right Stuff, I got paid $12 and $12.50 an hour for how many hours I was on set plus wardrobe.
Plus the risk of putting themselves in that situation where they could catch a charge from assaulting somebody.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like you're immune. You go in there and someone punches you and you snap because you've been having built up anger for 30 years of your life, and one day you just take out all your hatred for your father onto the guy who punched you, and
you're not even in jail for real. You're there to
crack his
undercover.
orbital socket, and now you're catching a real charge, and now you're in there 60 days plus whatever they give you. So you could easily get shanked or a tooth kicked in.
Oh yeah, or killed.
But speaking of,
I went.
Hold on, while we're on so you know the shows that I don't get and how people get wrapped up in them? Finding
Big
Bigfoot.
Brother?
Finding Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's silliness.
Well, let's say
a lot of those guys are the ones who follow QAnon.
I know, but let's say hypothetically Bigfoot existed, right?
Uh-huh.
This show is recorded 6 months in advance.
Yes.
You're going to spend an hour once a week watching Finding Bigfoot. Don't you think if these motherfuckers found Bigfoot, you would have found out 6 months ago when they're recording the show? And it's on every website, every newspaper. It was already on 60 Minutes because no one would be able to keep that fucking quiet. If you're the guy catching coffee for the producers on Finding Bigfoot and you see the footage.
It's not live? You mean that show isn't live?
Exactly. And so it's like, how are you going to get...
Damn, my world is crushed.
How are you going to get soaked into a show that's recorded 6 months ago where the mysterious... Same thing with the ghost shows, right?
Because the sheep are stupid.
I guess.
World full of sheeple, man.
The worst part of COVID? I had to watch Dr. Phil by proxy.
Wait, that's allowed to be aired in the house?
Carrie loves drama. You know there's a segment of TikTok?
Well, she is from Northern Kentucky, right?
You know, there's a segment of TikTok where people watch live stream of women who were basically screaming at other women. Carol, we
Like
watched
a rage talk.
think of Real Housewives of OC, but with people who are poor and have, who are quote unquote influencers, but their whole influence is they all do live streams where they're talking shit about the other one. And Carrie has no idea.
So it's like a white trash rap battle on TikTok?
Minus the well written rhyming songs, but yeah. And Carrie be watching. I'm just hearing people. I'm like, what is going on? I have no idea. But she's talking about this chick over here. Or who's that? I don't know. But she'll sit there for hours, and then and so when I'm like coming in and out of my hot sweats and I'm waking up at it didn't matter if it was 8 in the morning or 5 in the afternoon or 3 a.m. Dr. Phil's voice was in my subconscious because it was on the TV at the foot of the bed for an entire week.
Did you learn a lot about yourself?
Yeah, that I can't stand Well, you and I know that I can't stand Dr. Phil because when D-410.com was out in its infancy back in 2002, I had a segment called Kill Phil and Kill Glick. I hated Dr. Phil, and that fake-ass Martin Short character was Anthony Glick or whatever else.
Jiminy Glick, man. Come on, get it right.
And I used Microsoft Paint to make photos of their heads all busted open.
Do that today, you may get arrested.
Yeah, right.
When
So my
TikTok has power.
disdain for them.
You know when TikTok is a cultural phenomenon is when it is a station on Sirius XM.
I told somebody that the other day. I said, and I kind of want I know somebody who is a program director of a top 40 station. And next time I see him, I want to bust his balls a little bit. It's got to be so easy to be the program director for a top 40 station because all you got to do is print up the trending songs on TikTok.
So we got Sirius XM in the Forcer because we cheaped out with the $5 a month plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a TikTok channel. I'm gonna flip it on and see if I hear "Oh no, oh no" over and over again, and all the other songs.
I was at a job today. Delivering a laptop, got my mask on in here. Don't sail away too long. Don't stay away. And that usually is on a sad ass video of a dog, something. And I looked at him, I said, you guys got to play the saddest song on TikTok. And the very next song was another TikTok song. But yeah.
So they're probably listening to the TikTok channel.
I was at a job one time about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And they were listening to Pandora. And I said, what is this, the TikTok station? And the girl looked at me and says, well, what do you know about TikTok? I said, I got 5,000 followers. No, you don't.
They're so mad Gen X is taking over TikTok.
Of course, I'm at
time.
8,000 something now, but at the time, they were dumbfounded that I had 8,000 followers on TikTok. I'm like, I know something about TikTok.
Yeah, it's funny. I watched the Gen X stuff, and they get the one girl saying, hey, Gen X needs to stay off TikTok. Go back to Facebook. And the lady comes on, she goes, we like our corner. It's fun over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember, speaking of TikTok, about a year ago, no, I'm sorry, exactly 11 months ago, when my garage door spring blew up?
Mm-hmm.
You say, well, gee, Don, how do you know it was 11 months ago? Because I put everything on YouTube. So Sariana got cleared by the health department to go back to school this week because her run with COVID is over with. And she comes home and the garage door goes down and I hear kaboom.
Oh, no.
I'm like, fuck. And Carrie, I was like, what was that? Carrie's like, I don't know. I said, what in the goddamn garage door spring? Now, for those of you who don't know, there's a spring on each side of the vertical and they're under pressure. And that's what makes that 200-pound garage door feel like it's 15 pounds. And so I walk out there. And
You don't have the cylinder that goes across the top?
It's a cylinder, and then you have two springs on each side. And those springs are under tension, so when you pull the garage door up, it makes that 200-pound garage door feel like 15 pounds. And when one breaks, your garage door opener is not strong enough to lift that goddamn garage door.
No, you'll burn it up.
And so I go out there and I look, and it's the one on the right side. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Now, did you have them both replaced at the same time?
No, I did not. Because that would have been an extra $150.
I'm betting you wish you had them both replaced at the same time.
No, I do not. Because I quickly went to YouTube, Digital 410 garage door spring. Pops up and said 11 months ago. Fast forward to where the guy's replacing the spring, and he's replacing the one on the right side, the one that blew up. So I rewind it and catch the name because I give him a plug, and I call up the overhead garage door. hello, this is so-and-so. I said, yeah, how long do you warranty the springs that you put in garage door? Exactly 1 year. I said, great. You put one in 11 months ago and it just blew up. So he said, send me your name and address. I sent him the name, the address, and the link to the YouTube video. And he gave me a call back. So long story short, he's coming out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So now Sarietta doesn't have to roll her bike across the tile floor to get her bike out of the house. And maybe I can mow my lawn because I mowed my back lawn the day before all my COVID kicked in.
You probably got a freaking jungle going on right now.
Well, not only do I have a jungle going on because my grass, but I got a jungle going on because I ran out of 2-cycle oil and a mixed gas for my weed eater. So my lawn is overdue, and my fence
you may
line,
find some critters back here.
my fence line is 3 weeks overdue because I was going to go get gas and oil for the weed eater the very next day, and then that's when the COVID kicked in, and I couldn't get out of bed. I'm half tempted to call my own old lawn guy up, but I kind of use lawn care as a forced physical labor outside, so I'd rather not pay the $25 a service and just do it myself. But
you know what's interesting? It seems like a lot of people of our generation don't have their kids do the lawn. They just do it. We just do it ourselves.
Sariana did it when she first came. She was super excited and was doing it, and then she finally realized that it sucks. And then as she matured and got more bougie, now she won't do it. The only time she will do it is if she decides that she needs to spend another $25,000 on fucking Call of Duty buying more guns. That girl has spent so much birthday and Christmas money on goddamn shit. She could have bought like 6 versions
And
of
that's
that
what
game
sucks
already.
is when she gets a new version, it all starts over.
She could already pre-order the next 16 games versions of that game with much money she spent on skins and fucking guns. Well, whatever. It's her money. She can waste it as she sees fit. Let's actually start the show now. So,
Start the show. Shit, we should be going into news.
not yet because I did a little bit of show prep. Where's my sound? Oh, here it is.
When you're standing on top of a rapid, you still know that even though you've done all of this work to prepare for that one moment, that it could still all go wrong.
Every sport has its time.
Scott, I mean, you are, we said, a world-class kayaker.
All it takes is one person to change it.
The sport wouldn't be where it's at today if it wasn't for him and all his crew that were on another level.
Scott, you're 30 now, so what's the next big adventure?
There's a place in western Tibet, it's called Mount Kailash, and there are 4 rivers that come from this one peak, and they flow in the 4 cardinal directions, and that would be completing the 4 biggest rivers in the Himalayas.
In my mind, it was kind of like as high as you can go in the sport.
The direction became, I'm just gonna get myself in the best shape to run all 4 rivers. And then that year, that was the 7th person that had drowned. It just became brutal.
That's when things, I think, really became way more serious for Scott.
I'd lost too many friends. It was easy to be a dick about it.
He had it pretty rough growing up. I think that all kind of put a chip on his shoulder.
None of us knew how to cope. The only way we knew how to release it was to send a bender.
You can't operate at that level forever.
You gotta have an inner fire, and the second that it becomes unstable, it becomes dangerous.
I could tell something was up with my brother.
When I would flip over, I was starting to lose spatial awareness. Like I didn't know where I was at. And then I kind of just black out. That was the beginning of it all.
Got the call. I went to my knees. Probably one of the worst moments of my life.
They explained what it is that he would need to go through. Then Scott was like,
The one thing I was hanging on to the most was the Indus. That was the 4th and final river.
he was wanting to try on kayaking again, and nothing would come in the way.
I was not only physically healing, but I was mentally and spiritually healing. And I was looking towards a bunch of 20-something-year-old kids to get me back in shape.
In the back of my head, I was like, man, has this guy still got it?
He might not have the full life expectancy that, we all hope he would have.
I knew I was about to run the scariest rapid of my life, and it was all in my head.
The Netflix series, documentary I should say, called River Runner. Now, first and foremost, if you grew up in the 90s, if you skateboarded in the 90s, if you snowboarded in the 90s, if you BMX rode, base jumped, anything that you would require you to spend your weekends watching VHS equivalent of that sport, you need to watch this documentary. Because these guys are our age, close to your age, Gordon, and they found their way in the 90s.
Me sound like I'm freaking old.
Well, they found their way in the 90s, and as they were going around the United States kayaking, Scott brought out his camcorder, and they started shooting, and then basically started a production company. And you'll get flashbacks when we used to watch all these old snowboard videos and skateboard videos, these guys with cameras out in Montana and Butte and wherever. And you'll just get all the, because they're showing these clips of them back in the 90s riding kayaks, and they're dressing the same way we all dressed. They all looked the same way all of our friends did.
Yeah, I probably seen some of those videos when I was in Big Sky because kayaking was huge.
You'll recognize them, and it's not really giving anything away because in the video version of the trailer, you can see a CAT scan. The dude comes down with brain cancer. So before he quit professionally kayaking, he did 3 of these 4 rivers that coming out of Nepal that they're talking about. And
what's the name of it again?
River Runner. The guy's name's Scott Lindgren. So before, basically he became a professional kayaker, started a production company, won Emmys for his kayak videos, started making a bunch of money, flying around, renting helicopters, basically living, just imagine being like the editor-in-chief of Transworld Magazine or Thrasher Magazine in late 90s, early 2000s, but in the kayak world, right? That's what this guy was. Not only was he out there paddling, but he was filming, editing, producing, and selling these videos and winning Emmys for doing it.
Jesus Christ. So I went to Mountain Films' website just to see how many videos they've got, and it's got to be close to 100.
And
way back.
These guys were such into the lifestyle, as you heard him say, like before he even retired, 7 of his friends and his inner crew drowned kayaking. These guys were like doing the equivalent of like backcountry kayaking, where they're going down rivers that the canyons are like 300 feet and there's no way out. So once you drop in, you're in for the duration. And so their friends are dying. These guys are partying. Like they're going on these weekend ventures, filming, getting to the part where it's like, okay, now it's a job. I've just got to go in, make my mortgage payment, get out. And then they just drink their friends' deaths away, right?
Oh, yeah.
Guy does 3 of these 4 rivers. As he was explaining, got to the point where something's wrong with his health. He'd flip upside down. So he took 18 years off. He didn't know he had brain cancer. He just took 18 years off. And then when he found out he had brain cancer, he's like, fuck, I want to complete my goal of being the only guy on the planet to run these 4 rivers. It took him 20 years to do it. Anyhow, that's what the documentary's about. I didn't know this part until now. Don't want to go ahead.
When I was in Big Sky in the late 90s, I wouldn't doubt it if this was a crew that was down there trying to drop Ouzel Falls, because there's a whole film production.
Oh, it probably was.
Going on.
These guys, there's video footage of them dropping, down waterfalls. This may piss you off, or this may drive you to go see the documentary, but I just trying to pull up this guy's IMDb stuff. Scott Lindgren, kayaker, obituary. Scott has died as of August 31st. So this thing made the rounds, finally premiered on Netflix. Let's see. Professional kayaker and filmmaker Scott Lindgren has reportedly passed away on August 25th at the age of 49. At the age of 12, Scott began exploring the river. His neighbors were whitewater rapid guides. That's how him and his brother got into it. So they went to work for them, became river guides, doing the whitewater rapids on like the Zephyr boats or whatever you call them. And then one of those guys said, "Oh, you got to try this. If you like whitewater rapids, those boats you're on now is like driving a school bus. If you want the feeling of driving a Porsche, kayaks were like relatively new. Like, you need to try this kayaking thing." And once he did it, he was hooked. At the age of 12, Scott began exploring rivers. He went to Snake River. He went to Snake River in Wyoming on a family trip. He started kayaking at 18 and went to the Himalayas by the age of 19. Lindgren kayaked 250 days a year and goes from mountains to train. During the golden era of whitewater kayaking in the 90s, Scott Lindgren was its pioneer and champion. A new documentary explores the darker side of the life and almost derails his career. Lindgren's documentary on California's top whitewater kayak recently landed on Netflix. Rumor has it that he passed away shortly after that. However, it is unconfirmed. The development of the story, blah, blah, blah. Fighter and dreamer, one of the greatest legends in the sport. What a journey, Scott Lindgren. You've been a huge inspiration. But, yeah, so if you guys grew up watching, just living that whole extreme lifestyle and you like documentaries, and Adam Carolla once said the biggest sign of a documentary being good is you enjoy it even though you had no previous interest in the subject matter. And this is one of those. Carrie sat down there and watched the whole thing with me. She could give two shits and a fuck about documentaries or whitewater rapids, but by the end of it, she was into it because the storytelling was so great, the interviews are so great, and it's just so wild, Gordon. I'm telling you, you're going to watch this documentary, and they're going to show these guys now who are in their late 40s. Some of them may be in their early 50s because they're in their 20s back then, or late 20s. Mm-hmm. And they got the big, heavy wool plaid shirts on. They got the flat West Coast Bill hats on. And you're going to look at these guys like, why do I feel like I spent the winters drinking with these cats? I mean, you're going to look at every one of them, and you're going, oh, that guy reminds me of him, this guy.
Right.
Just, they're like, their whole crew and their style and everything is like just right out of the people we knew growing up in the 90s in that whole snowboard, skateboard era. You're just going to look at them like, yeah, these would have been guys I would have hung out with if I lived in Idaho or around the river at that time.
Yeah.
It's so insane. It's such a great movie.
If you went out to Mad River or New River Gorge all the time, it'd be totally the people.
Yep. So check that out. That is on Netflix. It's called River Runner. Let's see here. Real quick. We haven't made the official announcement on the What's the Skull About podcast, but our cast of characters, if you will, has grown. For the longest time, it was just me and whoever I was interviewing. And then Jeff Copsetta, who I met out at the National Museum of the Pacific War, and I met through the production and filming of Walking Point. We became good friends. He's been doing the show with me for probably over a year now. And recently, for those of you who watch HBO's The Pacific, and know the main character, Eugene Sledge, his youngest son was brought to me through someone who's been on the show and who's a living historian and who helps organize the events in Alabama, named Galen Wagner. He reached out to me and said, hey, here's the phone number for Eugene Sledge's son. He's wanting to get in a podcast. Long story short, we had him on the show twice. And we've decided he's going to become a full-time fixture. So instead of him launching his own podcast, he's
might as well get into a ready-made one.
He's going to join mine, and that does two things. One, whenever Jeff's unavailable, or I'm unavailable for that matter, there can still be a show. Mm-hmm. Two of us can still get together. In the topic of history, we've often said, my strong point's the PTO. So is Jeff's. Jeff's also in the Air Corps. Mm-hmm. Henry's a big aficionado on the Air Corps and European theater operation, and so it gives us more another source for expertise, knowledge base. And so now when Jeff's talking about Air Corps, because I never really got into it, not that I don't have an interest, but instead of me asking rudimentary questions about a topic I'm not so strong on, those two can carry that particular episode, and then I can just ask the questions that maybe some of the listeners might be wondering because, and so, and it's just a more source for content, and so we're excited about that. And we already covered the Tackle Your Best podcast. This episode of the What's in Your Head podcast is brought to you by our friends at Computers. Computers has been providing IT solutions for all of Southwest Florida since 2004. So if you need some computer help, even if you don't live in Southwest Florida, give them a call at 239-283-1120, and they can remote into your computer remotely as long as you have a working internet. And assist you if you do live here in town. They can help you with everything from laptop repair, computer repair, tablets, data recovery, etc., etc. Give them a call at 239-283-1120. And fun fact, I was doing some brown label laptop setups, which I hadn't seen in a long time. Don't know where the person got them. They came with Windows 10 on them. They came with an active version of Windows Office on it. Had Celerons, but they're pretty much using them for data entry. not a big deal. Set up the second one, and I'm rolling it out. And I went to type in the Wi-Fi code, which is all numbers. And I noticed that the 2 button was a 5. It had 2
Serious?
on the it's still typed to 2, but at the manufacturing plant for these brown label laptops.
Hey, we ran out of 2s. Use a 5. It's close enough.
Yep. And so technically this thing has 3 5s. It has the one across the top of the keyboard, and the calculator pad on the right has 2 number 5s on it. I've never seen.
My dog is barking at my neighbor. He's going to be mad.
I can actually hear him. So that is that. Let's see here. River Runner, Joe Rogan, Garage Door COVID. And so I've covered everything on my list of shit. I'm starting to lose my voice anyhow. So anyway.
Yeah, so Katina started a new job, and now she was working from 2 to 8 tonight. So I've got the... It's our first
Joining
night
us
of this.
now from the Digital 410 West News Desk in Las Vegas, Nevada, Gordon Abernathy.
Take it over, Gordon. I'm having a coughing fit.
Houston! Suspect, if you're a peeping Tom or a suspected peeping Tom, be careful because there was one shot and killed by a female homeowner in Houston.
Good riddance.
Good riddance indeed. A suspected peeping Tom was shot and killed by a female homeowner in the Houston area Friday night. It happened around, 11:15 p.m. That's probably, maybe even, I don't know. I don't know when the sweet time is for peeping Toms. Anyway, it was just north of downtown, according to the Houston police. They arrived at the home. They found the man dead on the driveway of a home. The police said the man was looking into a bedroom window from the outside, and the woman inside got scared, grabbed the rifle, and shot several times at the suspect through the wall of the home. Must have been an ignore. Police said that the man was shot one time and died at the scene.
Good.
Well, there's scammers out there everywhere, and Las Vegas is definitely, unfortunately, probably one of the top towns in the country. Las Vegas man has been accused of making and selling a fake COVID-19 treatment. Why? Because
he's using horse dewormer. God, I hope Joe Rogan sues CNN.
I think it was half a joke when he said it.
Nah, he tweeted about it today. He's seriously considering it.
Well, and that's just it, right? And not to get off topic, but maybe instead of just poo-pooing everything, you're seeing that this treatment literally tested negative within 3 days between that, the vitamin C, and the other stuff he had pre-set up through a doctor. Maybe you should take a look into that.
Well, I think it's also important on the case of disinformation. Someone did a TikTok tonight. Didn't even have to say anything. It was all screen grab off their cell phone. They typed in to Google, is ivermectin a cure for COVID? And it came up saying no, blah, 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 still not being FDA. Then they simply typed in, can men have babies? And it came up, yes, blah, 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 blah. So I was just like, okay, we're in an upside down world.
Somewhere we went to a parallel universe. It's weird.
Yep.
Anyway, according to the Las Vegas Police Department, they arrested I won't even call him a gentleman. We'll just call him a shitbag. Elias Daniel Barton Suarez. He's got 4 names. 53. On Monday, after an online sleuth provided information to police indicating that Suarez was selling chlorine dioxide, also known as Miracle Mineral Solution CBD, on a social media platform as a miracle cure for autism and COVID-19 and
not like
cancer.
A real piece of shit. Like if a piece of shit ate a piece of shit and took a pee and shit, you're that piece of shit.
So police decided to pay him a visit and searched his apartment near Valley View Boulevard and Penwood Avenue on Monday, turning up the apparent chemical lab used to manufacture the bleaching agent treatment. His lack of oversight is unlawful and creates a dangerous situation for all of the community, the patients, and the public at large, according to the police report. Suarez was booked Monday into the Clark County Detention Center on a single felony count of acting as a medical practitioner without a license.
Good luck with the casual sex. I mean it. No, because you won't get it.
Oh, he probably will, not in the right way. The Food and Drug Administration had warned people
Is there really
not to
a wrong way?
Well, there may be the unwanted way. Maybe that's what you're into. Who knows? The Food and Drug Administration had warned people not to consume chlorine dioxide products. Thank you, Trump. Despite previous warnings, the FDA is concerned that we are all still seeing chlorine dioxide products being sold with misleading claims that they are safe and effective.
How did
for
the Dead
the treatment
Milkman's
of
Bleach
diseases?
Boys not get used on every newscast when that story was out about Trump telling people to drink bleach? How did we not? How was that jewel missed that people weren't pulling up Dead Milkman's Bleach Boys?
That's a good question, but what's interesting is the product directions instruct the consumer to mix the sodium chlorite solution with citric acid, such as a lemon juice or lime juice or any other citric acid, such as hydrochloric acid. Burn your stomach right out in your esophagus before drinking. In many instances, the sodium chlorite is sold as part of a kit with a citric acid activator, according to the FDA. When the acid is added, the mixture becomes chlorine dioxide, a powerful bleaching agent that has caused serious and potentially life-threatening side effects. Again, people are stupid.
You know, I got a video banned on TikTok for bullying. But I was bullying...
Calling people stupid?
No, I was bullying myself. There's a cat named Youth Pastor Ryan. He does stand-up now, and he was saying, if you ever want to know what it's like to be picked on middle school, all you got to do is put a video up on TikTok and wait 5 minutes.
I remember seeing that, yes.
So I replied, Dear Ryan, I don't need to know what it's like to be picked on by middle school by doing a TikTok because I look like this. And I showed my middle school yearbook photo of me looking like a nerd. And within 5 minutes, it was taken down for community guidelines for bullying. So I probably one of the few people on TikTok that had a video removed for bullying oneself.
That's
retarded.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I really only have 2 stories. I thought I had another one on here. Anyway, I guess I got 2. And now, breaking news.
He only has 2 stories.
This concludes the evening news, and now back to the ACT Computer Studio in Cape Coral, Florida.
Thank you guys so much. I'm going to try to get a guest or 2 booked on here for next week, but I'm still suffering from this cough, and every once in a while, like right now, every once in a while I'll just get like a sweat attack. I've never gotten a temperature, but I'll like every once in a while, like at my shop, I'm working on someone's computer, I'll just start feeling sweat running down my ass crack. I'll just get these like body temperature like spikes real quick, and then they go away. It's so fucking weird. By the way, our cousin got COVID, so now he called me today. He just started vacation on Saturday and can't go nowhere because he's got COVID
all 3
now.
may have it, and there may be a carrier amongst them.
Yeah, so, well...
Guy with the fancy boat.
The other 2 were on their fancy boat. The other one's at home pissed off. The one who actually likes to fish. He's stuck singing my blues, so... And it's so funny because...
It's interesting. Everybody who
I talked to Mom 2 days
got
ago.
it now.
Yeah, I talked to Mom 2 days ago. She's like, your cousin's asking where you been. Ain't seen any fishing photos. I'm like, I'm sick. And then he gets...
If they pay attention to my TikTok, they'll see I'm laying all over the place.
Yeah, well, most people don't watch my TikToks. Anyhow, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you guys so much and all that good stuff. Please head over to d-410.com. Click on that Patreon link because of you. You guys cover the little overhead we have, but we do have overhead. Like the service that allows us to stream on multiple platforms simultaneously costs us money.
I swear, you just got to do the Peloton, raise it to $10 a month, and
we do have a $7.50 month plan, but if you guys are interested in what it is a quality bike, and I'm just waiting. I honestly think Peloton's got to have some sort of patent on the on-bike live class, because why would you offer live classes like for yoga and shit, but people are buying the bike? So,
hint, hint, nudge, nudge, future half-ass review.
Well, yeah, I actually said in the video tonight that I haven't... When it comes to something like that, whether it's a bicycle, a car, something, a kayak, we use the my new tandem kayak. I think we used it for a month before I did a half-ass review on it because, using something once and then telling people either to buy it or not to buy it, 1, it's not an honest review, and 2, you may use it the first time and think it's fucking awesome, and by time number 5 all the wheels start falling off the thing, and then you got to do a retraction. So but the video number 1's up. I'm going to use it probably for about a month or 2 before I give it a full review, but as of right now it is my only form of exercise, and it does come in 2 colors. We got the black one, and
never heard this dog bark so much in my life,
and it's a nice piece of machinery. So for you thinking about getting into it, if you're listening, at some point it will make a very nice looking coat hanger in your bedroom, because let's face it, that's what most workout equipment turns into after a while, is a place to hang your clothes. But anyhow, that wraps up, and we'll talk to you all next week.
This has been a Digital 410 production.